Hey there, and welcome to the channel. You're about to hear one of the most disturbing and mind-bending stories we've ever shared. If you enjoy mysterious, suspense-filled horror that makes you question reality itself, then you're in for a wild ride. Before we dive in, please make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. It might seem like a small click, but trust me, in stories like this, even small actions have massive consequences. And one last thing, don't worry, we've kept ads to a minimum so you can stay completely immersed in the experience. Now, what if you built a machine that could bend reality, but it worked a little too well? Let's begin. They all laughed at me when I said I'd invented a machine that lets you talk to the dead. They're not laughing anymore. My name is Dr. Elias Monroe. Once, I was a respected scientist with a promising career, but curiosity and obsession twisted my fate into something I cannot undo. What I built should never have existed. It all started with a single question: what if death isn't the end? What if the voices beyond could be reached? The world laughed at the idea. Friends turned away. Colleagues called me mad. But I was relentless. Deep in the dusty basement of my old laboratory, I pieced together a machine, a contraption of wires, screens, and strange frequencies, designed to pierce the veil between life and death. When I first switched it on, nothing happened. Just static and silence. Then, a whisper. Faint, garbled, but unmistakably a voice. At first, it was just fragments, echoes of a forgotten past, lost souls trying to speak. I told myself it. I documented every voice, every whisper. At first, it was like tuning into overlapping radio signals from another world. But one night, it called my name. Elias. The voice was raspy, echoing like wind through a graveyard. I froze. I hadn't told anyone I was testing the machine again. I leaned in. Who are you? A pause. Then, chillingly, you opened the door. Now you must listen. I backed away. The machine whined, then crackled out. Silence returned, but it didn't feel like silence anymore. It felt like something was watching me from beyond the veil. That night, I didn't sleep. I watched the machine until sunrise, heart pounding with a mix of fear and scientific thrill. I asked, is there someone there? The screen flickered. And then, a face. Twisted. Unnatural. Like a human form half remembered. It stared at me through the static. Elias, it hissed. They are coming. The machine began to spark. I yanked the power. Darkness. Silence. But the silence wasn't safe anymore. I felt something in the room with me. Not heard. Felt. Cold and heavy. What would you do if a dead person looked at you through a screen, and said they weren't alone? The next morning, sunlight offered no comfort. The corners of my house seemed darker, the air heavier. Mirrors felt like eyes. I told myself it was paranoia. But paranoia doesn't leave footprints. There were muddy, human-like prints, bare feet, trailing across my wooden floor from the machine room, into the hallway, stopping at the foot of my bed. And I live alone. I should have destroyed the machine, burned it. But obsession, once it takes root, doesn't let go so easily. I needed to know more. Who were they? Why me? Was I the first, or just the first to listen? That night, I turned it on again. This time, I didn't ask anything. A garbled recording burst through the speakers, almost like a scream underwater. Then, you've opened the passage. They walk now, Elias. Some seek you. Some seek escape. Then the lights blew out. In the dark, I heard breathing. Not mine. Audience question. If something from the other side was breathing in your ear, would you freeze, or run? I grabbed my flashlight and turned it toward the sound. There was a figure standing in the corner. Not a ghost. Not a hallucination. Something partially human, gaunt, long-limbed, its face wrapped in decaying cloth, its mouth sewn shut, yet it spoke into my mind. You built the bridge. Now we will cross. It disappeared when I turned the lights back on. But the message remained. They weren't just voices anymore. They were crossing over. What has Elias truly done? Has he torn a hole in the veil between life and death, or built a gateway for something older? I stopped sleeping. Not because I couldn't. Because I didn't dare. Every night, they came closer. Shadows darker than night, whispering in voices layered like echoes in a well. Even unplugged. At 3:03 a.m. every night, it would hum. Every night, something would come through. The first was a woman, drenched, eyes missing, clutching a wet wedding veil. He never came back, she whispered, blood dripping from her fingertips. So I waited. I drowned. And now, you brought me back. She reached for me. I blinked, and she was gone. The next night, a child appeared. His head twisted backwards. He didn't speak, just pointed at the wall where scratch marks had appeared overnight. "Let us in." I boarded up the windows. Buried the machine under concrete. Left town. But horror follows its creator. In my hotel room 2 states away, the TV turned on by itself. Then the voice again. "Running won't save you, Elias. We are inside you now." Blood dripped from the screen. Audience question. If the voices followed you across the country, how far would you go before you broke? I blacked out. When I woke up, there were names written on my arms. Names I didn't know. Names of the dead. They weren't crossing over randomly. They were targeting me. I wasn't the builder of the machine. I was the door. I had to know the truth. Not just about the machine, but about myself. Why me? Why did they know my name? Why were the dead following me, not the machine? I went back to my childhood home, a place I hadn't seen in years. My parents died when I was 7. I was told it was a fire. But I found the old house records buried in a public archive. There was no fire. There was no house left. Only a sealed government report marked with the words. My blood went cold. I was part of something. Not a scientist discovering a breakthrough, but an experiment that survived. I wasn't the inventor of the machine. I had been remembering it, rebuilding it, because I had already seen it, when I was a child. And now I realized, it hadn't worked back then. Not fully, but now it had. What would you do if you discovered your whole life, yo? I began to lose time. Minutes, then hours, vanished from my memory like smoke. I'd find myself in unfamiliar rooms, in towns I didn't remember driving to. One morning, I woke up with dirt under my nails, dried blood on my palms, and a mirror covered in black cloth. I didn't remember placing it there, but the cloth pulsed. Like breathing, I reached for it. A voice whispered, "Not yet." I stepped back. Suddenly, everywhere I went, clocks stopped ticking when I entered the room. Strangers would stare too long, then blink in confusion, as if they forgot why they were looking. Something was shifting. The world itself felt thinner, like a paper wall stretched tight. And then one night, while staying in an isolated farmhouse, I heard it. Knocking. Not on the door. Not on the windows. But from under the floorboards. 3 knocks. Then silence. Then, 3 more. I lifted a floorboard. Nothing. I leaned in closer. And something knocked from inside my chest. "We are almost here." I collapsed. When I woke, the machine was beside me, but this time, it had changed. It no longer had wires or switches. It had veins. It was alive. Audience question. If a machine started to bleed, would you destroy it, or try to understand it? That night, the lights flickered again. The air became thick, like breathing through oil. And then, in a voice that sounded like hundreds of mouths speaking as one, it said, "The door has opened. The others are watching. The entity is near." I screamed, but the sound didn't leave my mouth. Instead, the room around me screamed. I looked in the mirror I had covered, and I didn't see myself anymore. I saw something wearing my skin, smiling. And behind it, a hallway of shadows. One of them stepped forward. I don't know how long I stared at the mirror. Because time wasn't moving. The reflection smiled, not my smile, not my face, but something wrong. The skin was too smooth. The eyes too still. Behind it, shadows writhed like snakes in boiling water. I backed away, but the mirror followed. It was no longer a reflection. It was a window. I couldn't look away. And then I heard it. The low hum of the machine from across the room. It wasn't plugged in. It had never needed power. It fed on me. My breath shortened. My vision narrowed. And then, in the deepest silence imaginable, a whisper. "We gave you the blueprint. You opened the door. Now you must meet the architect." The mirror cracked, just a single jagged line. But from that line oozed a black liquid, thick like tar but moving like it was alive. A shape began to push through. Fingers first. Long, clawed, too many joints. Then a face. No, not a face. A mass of mouths, whispering different words in different languages. Psalm. My memories cracked like broken film. What if I had always been in there? What if this world, the job, the machine, the friends, the fear, was the simulation to keep me from remembering what I really was? Audience question. If everything you knew, your past, your family, even your own face, turned out to be a mask hiding something monstrous beneath, would you still try to escape? Or would you surrender and see what's truly underneath? I ran. out of the house, into the woods, but the stars above twisted into symbols I didn't recognize. The trees began to bend toward me. Not with wind. With will. They knew me. They were waiting. And far behind me, I heard the entity's voice one last time. The door is open, Elias. You never should have made it out the first time. In his pocket, Elias finds a note. It wasn't there before. It reads, Attempt 43 failed. Door closing in 3, 2, the world begins to collapse. I woke up gasping. Back in my apartment. Same bed. Same lamp. Same faint hum of the city outside the window. Was it a dream? The entity? The mirror? The bleeding machine? I sat up. My heart pounded. I checked the date on my phone. August 9th. The same day I turned on the machine for the very first time. My stomach turned cold. No. This wasn't a dream. This was a reset. I ran to the kitchen. Same empty coffee mug. Same scratch on the tile floor. I opened the closet, and there it was. The machine. Pristine. Clean. Untouched. Just like the morning I tested it, but something was different this time. It was already humming. I didn't turn it on. I backed away slowly, and suddenly, my apartment lights flickered. 3 times. Then out. I froze. The silence stretched out, deep and endless, and then a voice, not in the room, but inside my mind, calmly whispered. Loop 44 initiated. Subject remains unstable. Let's see how far you get this time. I collapsed to my knees. Let's see what breaks first, the machine, or you. I scrambled for the front door, but when I opened it, it didn't lead to the hallway. It led to my childhood bedroom. Same faded wallpaper. Same wooden toy chest in the corner. Except now, the toy chest was open, and a black, slimy handprint was smeared across its lid. Audience question. What would you do if the only door out of your nightmare led deeper into your own memories? I turned around. Now the machine was in the bedroom too. It pulsed, like a heart. Then a voice echoed from all sides. There's nowhere to go, Elias. You built a loop, not a bridge. I whispered, trembling. Why me? And the entity answered. Because you never existed outside it. You are not a man trying to escape the machine. You are the piece of the machine trying to escape the man. Elias looks at his reflection in the window. It's not his face. It's the entity's, staring out at them. Elias stared into the reflection on the glass, not his own. The entity's face, twisted and ancient, wearing his expression like a mask. He backed away. But the window followed. Then suddenly, a loud crack from the kitchen. The machine had turned on fully. Lights pulsing, metal shifting, and a new dial spinning on its own. It wasn't just replaying time now. It was choosing something. He sprinted toward it, grabbed a hammer, and screamed, You want me gone? Fine. I'll erase you first. And he smashed it. Once, twice. Sparks flew. The lights flickered. But as the glass shattered, the world didn't break. He did. Instantly, Elias was thrown backwards, collapsing in the middle of his apartment, which was no longer his apartment. Walls flickered like static. Reality was unraveling. And then came the voices. Not one. Dozens. Hundreds. All him. Different versions of Elias, screaming, whispering, laughing, begging. Don't smash it. It's already too late. This is loop 12. Would you like to exit simulation? Yes. No. You can't. His hands trembled. He hovered over yes, but the moment he touched it, the screen flashed. Exit requires sacrifice. Choose the memory to delete. And on the screen, his memories appeared. His mother's smile, his first love, his childhood treehouse. The day he laughed so hard, he cried. If the only way to escape a false reality was to erase the best parts of your life, would you still choose freedom? Elias hesitated. And in that moment, the entity's voice returned, now amused. You can break the machine, Elias, but can you break yourself? He screamed and slammed yes, and the room went white. Clapperboard final scene of part 9, cliffhanger twist. Elias wakes up. Different room, different clothes, different name on the ID next to him. He is someone else. He runs to a mirror. It's his face, but the eyes, still not his. Elias stood in the mirror, staring at a face that was his, but felt wrong. His ID now read, Daniel Hale, age 33. Occupation, engineer. The apartment was clean. White walls, simple furniture. No machine. No entity. No memory of anything, except a faint whisper echoing in his mind, Loop 45. And then, a knock at the door. He hesitated. The knock came again. He opened it slowly. Outside stood a little girl, no more than 6, holding a small mechanical device. The machine. But, miniaturized. Evolved. She smiled innocently. "Hi. You dropped this." He stared in horror. He didn't build it this time. He received it. She tilted her head. "Aren't you gonna turn it on?" He backed away, whispering, "No, no, not again. Please," but the machine clicked. Lights flickered. The world around him warped like plastic melting under fire. Walls stretched. Voices returned. Mirrors laughed. And then, the entity appeared once more, wearing the little girl's face. "Elias. Daniel. It doesn't matter what Nam." Just a whisper carved into the wood, the exit. He stepped closer. As he reached for it, a voice echoed from behind. His own voice. "If you open that door, someone else takes your place." Elias froze. The entity whispered, "You can escape, yes, but who will suffer in your place?" He turned, and saw a woman. His mother, standing silently, eyes empty, waiting. Behind her, more people appeared, old friends, strangers, children, even the little girl. All silent. All watching. Would you walk through the door to save yourself, if it meant condemning someone you love to your place? Elias shook, tears falling. He looked at the door. He reached for it, paused, and turned around. "I won't let anyone else suffer for me." The entity frowned. Then the loop continues. And with a scream that shattered sound itself, Elias flung himself into the white void. What would you do if you discovered your entire life was a loop of your own creation? Would you fight to break free, or accept the lie as you?